Hello! How's it going? We're gonna do a bit of Blender tonight. My name's Aaron, work over at Hand-Eye Society, and just turn this monitoring off. There we go. Alright, so let's move that over there, and let's get started with some fresh Blender. Alright, so I wasn't quite sure what I want to do today, but I think I'm gonna do another bit of architecture. Probably gonna do like a outside patio in the sky, something like that. But we're gonna start this off and see where it goes. So I think that first let's see. So I'm just gonna use this as a base for the patio, and we're gonna make it, say, 10 by 10 to start off. We're gonna move this onto. All right, that's a good start. Good place to start here. So we're just gonna thin that up to be 0.2, and then let's get started. Right, so just gonna start blocking out kind of where I want things to look. So we have a building over here that's gonna be up, and it's gonna be, oops. I only want it to be about 1 story. So that should be good for that. Now we're gonna block out the barrier. So that's just gonna, I'm just gonna make that. I think it's gonna be just a pretty basic fence post. We're gonna give it 1 meter in height. Oh, that is scale, not height. There we go. Give that 1 meter in height, and that's gonna give us a bit of a better idea of how big our scene is. Yes. And all right, so let's just adjust that again, and we're down the X. Keep messing, let me keep using scale. Let's actually just restart this because I keep accidentally pressing scale. So similar to the last time I streamed, I basically want to just kind of make something over the next 2 hours. Have you used snapping for aligning walls? So I will sometimes. It's the smart way to do things. But I tend to, especially when I'm blocking, just throw things around and then clean up the edges later. Yeah, go, and it's a little bit too thick here, so we're just actually gonna grab this entire thing around. Just bring it up a little bit. That, and then I want to keep this as one object, so we're going to add a pane of glass. All right, and then the reason that I wanted to keep this as one object is because then I can just apply a array modifier. Oop. And we get, it's a little disconnected, so let's fix that. Go. I'll bring that into there a bit. Okay, that's good for now. This can all be adjusted later. And then we're gonna move the array up. We're gonna see if we need to do a bit of fixing on the size. That into there. That is pretty good. Just shorten it a bit. About the length of one of these posts. Oop, there we go. And then we can just... actually, no, I'm going to apply materials first. I was going to say we could duplicate it. It's going to be better if we just get these done. Let's try to find... a good wood. Let's try a good wood here. First one, perfect. Oh. New material. I'm gonna do a quick B on this. All right, a little better. I want the grain to be going a different direction, so that's a very easy fix. UV editor, grabbing that wood, and just rotating it. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Grab this, rotate 90. We're gonna have a little bit of a more natural grain pattern on this. And let's get our glass in here. So you can add glass from this PBR thing. It's okay. I'm not the biggest fan of the glass that Extreme PBR provides. They only really have one option, so I'm gonna opt to make my own glass in the shader editor. So, this is not what I want. New glass. And we're just going to go ahead and apply that to this. Enough. Fine. So we can see what we're doing. Grab that transmission. And add some color back here just so I can see what is changing. Dude. All right. I'm decently happy with that. I don't want it to be completely clear, then you can't see a whole lot. So I'm giving it a little bit of roughness just so you get that kind of diffusion of light. And I'm gonna give it a little hint of color. Like a slight ooh. There, oh, a little too dark. There we go. All right, so that is a rough outline of this. I'm going to duplicate this and throw it over here. And then this one has a different array modifier. We can just kind of and then for this end, I'm going to adjust the size of the platform instead of the size of the things. And this side will be an exact duplication of it. But reverse, actually. Out of cycles to give my computer a break. All right, so there's a basic kind of balcony. So now let's work on, I'm gonna expand this a little bit too close to the edge. And I'm also gonna make like a bit of a foundation at the bottom of this. It's gonna be pretty simple. We're gonna grab that and we're just going to insert a face. That's good enough. Up this one. Get in a bit. And all of these faces can be raised. Along here. Okay, don't know what I'm going to do for the material here yet, but I want to make a little bar. So cube. And I can make a little floating bar island here, or I could make a curved bar here. And I think that the curved bar is more interesting. So work with curves. So I'll make it so the bar is like 4 meters wide. We're just going to extend these, create new things, and also try to set an endpoint. Turn that off. Endpoint gonna be here. It's gonna be here, and then in between here and subdivide, and it's gonna give us a bit more wiggle room creating this curve. You could also take a circle and cut the pieces in half. That's another way to do this. Yeah. So the endpoint would be right on our here. And then there's 1, 2, 3 on each side. This can get... See, this one might actually be able to just delete these. And what we're left with... Not 100% perfect, but I'm pretty happy with that. And so this is where we do some tricky little curve stuff. So we're just going to grab a cube, get out the width of the bar that we want. Put it onto here. And I actually want to make this smaller. And I'm going to give it some segments, which will allow it to kind of stretch. Now, when you're doing this, you have to place, I've mentioned this before, you have to place the origin of the curve that you want to use and the origin of the object that you're curving at the same spot. And so how you can do this is by using the 3D cursor. And just kind of want to get it generally there. And then just go set origin to 3D cursor. And we're going to move this in. Oop. And we're going to do the same thing. Origin to 3D cursor. Okay, and now this is the tricky part that I always kind of get wrong. Hide that. But we're going to add a curve modifier. The curve object is this. Then there has to be an array modifier. And now we're going to see if this was the right array. Move to first. There we go. Pick curve, I feel like I'm never using right. It never actually fits the curve. Oop, too much. Okay, so now that we can kind of see the shape of our bar, we can go back into this curve, kind of move things around. They look a little bit more natural. There will You could also mirror this if you wanted to. I'd be a bit here. All right, so there's our basic bar top, which I am gonna squish a little bit. That's gonna go down. Go ahead and parent these to each other so that I don't lose them. Parent. Oh. I grabbed the wrong things. Did the wrong. Bezier. Bezier. There we go. Bezier. All right. That's fine. It's working fine. I guess the other thing I should actually check is if the curves got off center at all. No, they're actually pretty good. That's a pretty good result. Okay. And so we can just reuse the same curve. And there's my issue. Parented the ones, that's fine. We can reuse the same curve for the base of the bar. We can just grab another mesh cube, do essentially the same thing, but the other axis. So we're just going to throw the origin here. Make sure that's kind of lined up. It isn't. Safer thing would be to duplicate this. All right, now let's see if this is good. Okay, so you can see that I don't actually mind it, but because I didn't add in extra curving points, it's going to create a bunch of really straight walls. We're gonna add some, not too many, and we can go back. Much smoother curve. This can also be buffed out with some smooth surfaces or subsurface, what's it called? Subdivision surface. All right, I can get added back into our scene. And this is when we can kind of figure out what height we want, because this is probably over 1 meter tall, which I don't know how tall is a bar top. Usually I have a measuring tape. There it is. Probably like a meter. This is a little tall then. Alright, so we've got that. I'm going to apply, just to this, we're going to apply a shade smooth. Ooh. See how that looks in here and see if that's fixable. You know, I might actually keep that. It kind of looks like almost like a padding. I'm going to see if it does something similar to this. It's going to do something similar to this. The reason is that I'm doing it to the first array model, so it's curving the edges instead of applying array and curve and making that into a singular model. So if we look at this one, which I'm just gonna do a quick duplication of this entire thing. Maybe it won't let me create something that's parented. Either way, this is fine. I'm gonna say that this is good for now. So I'm going to apply the array, apply the curve, and now when I do this, oh, it's still just gonna do that. That's okay. Shade smooth, shade flat. We'll stick with that. Now, oh yeah, still treating it as kind of individual. What might help that is if I just subdivide everything a bit. Like 3 times, then try shade smooth now. Yeah, it's a little better. Not perfect. That is okay. So let's make some bar stools for this. And we're gonna make them over here just so I can see what I'm doing. And we're gonna start with a cylinder for the bar top. Measure it up here. Oh, it's the snapping that's messing up. There we go. That's, in terms of size, I think that's fine. And I might also want to make this a little bit taller to match with the stools. But I think that is a good starting size. Okay, so I've done a few things for these in the past. The first thing that I have noticed is that I should actually turn this into an n-gon instead, or sorry, a polygon fan instead of an n-gon. We're just gonna redo that. And triangle fan. And so this is basically gonna give us a bit more room to make it a cushion and bring it up a little bit. And then along the edges, I'm gonna do a... Ooh, it's gonna mess up there, isn't it? Oh, come on, let me choose these. Usually can hit Shift Alt and then select a base, and then it'll give you the whole loop. Was not lucky today. I'll do that as something separate. For the cushion, we have all these polygons, which is nice, so we can just turn on the proportional editing. Turn it into a sphere. And we're just gonna bit of a look like this. All right. So for this, I'm just going to use let's say a fairly simple shader here that I'll make. Shader editor. Purple. Dark purple. Gonna make it rough. We're going to get this thing smooth. Getting smooth. Not working in my favor today. Add some displacement. Gonna add a texture. Noise texture. Put the displacement into the displacement. Then we're gonna throw the color into the mid-level. So we're gonna get this. Really need to get this really small. I want to create almost a leathery texture. That's a bit too much like sand, I'd say. I want it to have less. A little bit. And then in the actual texture, we're gonna make it a bit less rough. Give it a bit of a sheen. Oop, that's too much of a sheen. That'll be good. And the edges are gonna be metal. Really simple. Add a new thing. We're just gonna make it like a nice metallic. Okay. So would not recommend this subdivision circular for this. The stool isn't going as well as I thought it would. Compared to the other stools that I have made, it needs to be way more rough than that. It's just very blocky in a way that I did not expect. It's gonna look like this in cycle bigger issue. I think my solution is going to be something in between this. There we go. Now, let's just make sure this is nice and centered. It can probably be brought down a little bit more to envelop that. And then on this piece, it's still going to be a little bit bigger. I'm gonna make like little divots. Will be add 6, and then the actual divots going to, there we go, there. Going to bring them in a little bit. Oh, turn off that proportional editing. The other option, if that doesn't work, is extrude faces along normals. That's going to bring it in a little bit. So it creates this ridge, and then when it's shaded smooth, it kind of makes it a little bit more natural. And then on this, we can apply the metal texture. There we go. That's what I was looking for. All right. So it might be a little thin. I can always extend it, slide it back up there, and then either parent these objects or make it one. I'm going to make it one object just so it's a little bit easier in the duplication process. But let's make the rest of this. Actually, I did that. Yep. There, and then for the base, we're gonna do a circle that has been filled with triangle fans, very similar to what we just did, and it's going to be much smaller. We're also going to give it 50 vertices. Let's make that 60, and we're going to move this down to like, let's say 0.3, even a 1.5 or 1.15, and then we'll see how this goes. Of course, I added that as a part of that. Circle down, got all that. Okay, so we're just going to solidify. That's going to give this a bit of weight to work with, and then we're going to do a similar thing where we're going to subdivide this a bunch. A little too much. Don't want this thing taking over my computer. And it's going to be similar to last time. Oh, actually, I want it to be more of a smooth curve, and that allows this kind of bell-shaped, almost like those like they were like toys that you would have that you'd like push in and out, and then it would pop up. Got them in like the dentist's office. All right, and shader is already done for this. So this, and we're also going to rename this. For my sake. Or I think the bottom is actually maybe going to be purple, but not a leather purple, maybe. Or what would go good with purple? Create a new material here for this, called new plastic. And we're gonna mess around with that now. Maybe. Let's see how it looks with just a black base. I actually like that. Already got a decent consistency. Being a little reflective. Not metal. Want it to be metal. Already at the bottom already. No subsurface. But I want it to be almost a bit of a different color than this. I'm gonna brighten that up. And we can add, we could add a texture to this. I'm gonna hold off for now. Okay. So here's our object. I'm gonna parent everything to the seat. That's gonna be the thing I grab. Okay, well, let's see how this looks in the scene. In the kind of what is a scene? Okay. Say it's a little small. All right, so that's simple. Ooh, look at that. We're basically just gonna grab everything. If I wanted to add less actual objects, you could do a similar thing where you set up an array and have it go around the bar, but that will create pretty uniform look, and kind of don't want everything to be uniform. That's a bummer that I didn't check that. It was only on 3 of them. So for this, not 100% sure what I want to do with it yet. I like the idea that it almost looks like it's padded. I'll probably go something along with that lines. We can add a previously made texture if I find one that's interesting. I mean, this would be fun. I don't think it's the right option, but it could be fun. See what this looks like in cycles. All right. Well, let's and I don't hate it. Reminds me of it'd probably be like a bar I would go to. Jeans. I'm not gonna get too lost in that. I have lots of time. There's leather. They do have a leather setting, but it's probably not gonna have as many fun colors. No. I don't want to do red and purple. The bottom isn't the final color. I'm really attracted to doing some knitting here. I'm just going to keep that in for now, as I kind of like it. But we'll see. See how the scene continues to evolve. Now, for the countertop. It's still going to be doing some weird things there. Yes, it is still going to be doing some weird things there. Okay. Oh, you know what? It's going to set me back to EV2 because that's what PBR does sometimes. And while we're here, let's add an atmosphere. A little too dark. I want it to be the day. I assume, actually the camera probably isn't in the worst place right now. Nah, that's not too bad. Not where I want it to be, but that will be easy to change. Alright, and also I want this to be in the sky, so let's see. Ground offset. Oh, actually, I don't want the ground offset. I want the horizon up. All right. Let's add something to the ground here, because right now, well, actually, let's just add something here. I think I'm always thinking marble. Marble's always on my mind. Let's see. In Extreme PPR. They're foods. Dang. Oh, they do have a plastic section. Not even that bad. All things considered. Pretty decent. I'm happy with that. Really good mapping in there. Distracts a little bit from how flat a lot of the faces are, but we can also do some beveled edges along the edge, which would have been great to do before I subdivided this thing. So that's gonna be lost. That's okay. Okay, what else would make this? Let's grab some tables around the edges. So those are gonna be cylinders again. We're going to make the radius Hmm. Make the radius 0.4. And then make that depth a little bit less than that. Oops. Alright, and the good thing with tables is you don't need to do any fun ballooning or anything. You can add inconsistencies. Not too bad. Why is it not letting me edit two axes at once like it used to? That's fine. Yeah, that grabbed everything. So similar thing, just a real small bevel that you can add a couple segments to. Got yourselves a decent table to deal with. There we go. Good tabletop. Now, so we can do something similar to this where it's like a circular base. I think that's probably going to be the easiest and it'll match the style a little bit best. Ooh, one way for a bit, now it's looking very good. What are you using as the hotkey? Which hotkey? Sorry, I just missed that message. I do want to, there is a thing that you can install that will, it's an add-on to Blender that will show all of your key inputs. I need to install that. For movie things on 2 axes. So, I actually don't know. So, I mean, the hotkeys generally are just, you know, X, Y whenever you press something, but I used to be able to just add like press, what is it? But it was shift, like hit X and then Y, and then it would oh yeah. It does some weird stuff there. X and Z. There. So if you hold shift when you're typing in your axes. Yeah, so for some reason mine is just being weird where it's not getting the axes right. But it's working now. It's just got the X and Z mixed up. So I'm just going to take these and duplicate them and unparent them. Now, where did they go? They're there. Obviously, this is a table, so we're going to make this a little bit bigger. Yoink. Okay. Pretty decent. Height-wise. Get that so it's right on top. Got this nice. Now, what should the tabletops be? That's a good question. Let's see. I can make a little plastic. Let's see what's an extreme PBR. We've got a couple different plastics here. I want to see if I can even recolor this one. I don't know if I really want the green. We're just going to go into shaders. And let's look at this. And see if I can see what's happening here. The answer might be no. It might be that this is a little complicated. So that's fine. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and make our own shader. And let's add some, see if we can find a good displace option. We're actually not going to put the displace in the shader. We're going to put the displace on the surface. No, we're going to put the displace on the shader. That's going to be easier on my system. Displacement. You can also add the modifier. It's a little bit easier because then you can actually see the texture we're working with. Which texture do we want to use? All right, and then we're also just going to do a quick UV on this because I haven't done that yet. Oh. And then, so we created an interesting texture for the top here. What I don't like is how bunched up it gets on the sides, which might be solved by giving this a, what is it? Map node. Oh, texture coordinates. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, there we go. That's exactly what I wanted. Got a little bit of a texture here. Mess around with it a bit just to get it to a point where I'm happy. That's definitely not what I want to up. Oh, Chubby Chev's neat. It's a little too uniform for me. Oh, that's more what I'm looking for. Is kind of just... We're not going to be getting up close to this, but it's going to be good to have a bit more of a texture than just a flat object, because otherwise, I mean, the difference between the ground and something with a little bit more texture, like these seats, see the leather texture, is quite significant. And so for the ground, well, actually, you know, let's finish making some of this. No, I do not have time to animate a cloth on top of it. But I will do that some other time. So let's parent these. And I'm also not sold on the color of the tabletop, so we're gonna do a bit of editing on that. Maybe even just have it be like a really, really dark purple. So it like matches a bit more with that. Little hint. Because the seats are already quite purple. I could also, I could do a lot of different colors here. Okay, so let's dot these around, because this is, you know, I'm gonna say that that's pretty done. I think it could be a bit taller. Yeah, I think that's probably good. It's maybe a little tall, but I'm not trying to not fret about stuff like that. And so this, same deal, dotted around. We don't want them to be perfect. Ooh, I did that thing again. Let's that again. Thought I had them all selected. Boop, boop, boop. Yep. Now let's double check. Yes, we're good this time. That one copy correctly? No, I'll do that second. Also probably time to think about making this space a bit bigger. That out in a second. And let's take a look at this in cycles in rendered mode. All right. I think we're getting there. Good for, let's see, about an hour. Things are a little bit too close to the walls, which is why I'm going to start expanding things. I did not make these into a solid object yet. Good thinking. So we're just going to... Scale this up. That didn't work out too bad. Right. Okay, I really need to put a texture on this ground because it has been bothering me. So even if it's something quick, some planks or actually tile. Tile would be fun. Oh, that's going to be wall tiling. Oh, there's some kind of patio, but and I want to find new music. Okay. Now. Ooh, okay. So, classic example of not doing UV wrapping and not applying scale. Ooh, lots of stuff here. This is Extreme PPR Nexus. It's a tool. It's unfortunately paid. There's a bunch of different options for how much materials you get though. So, so you can choose a more affordable option, or you can make textures yourself, fairly easy, using something like CC. What are they? Polyhaven. That's a really good texture site. I use that one quite a bit. I don't think this is going to be what I want, but it looks a little too jokery. Concrete's always an option, and concrete's kind of, I do it too much. That's what I tend to say. I think this might be the thing. I just need to make it a bit smaller. Called hexagon. There we go. Oh yeah, I need to make it much smaller. This is going to be the ground. I'm going to find something a little bit better for the edge, because you wouldn't tile the edge of a thing. That is maybe where the just plain concrete is going to come into play. Just want to get something that matches the color of the ground. And make it something that is going to be really easy to put on. That I don't have to do a whole bunch of UV matching for. This is also the annoying part. That wasn't too bad. I'm just going to apply this to a small section just so I can kind of get an idea of what this is going to look like if it does come up. I already don't like it. Already don't like it. So, we're gonna find something that has a similar color, but isn't... Oh, that's kind of neat. I didn't know this had road mapping. That's gonna be a bit too extreme. I might see if there's a stone that would fit, and then try to deal with the granite's gonna be too surface imperfections. But those are neat. Turning into me just diving into this tool. Yeah, we'll just stick to something like this just for now. I don't want to... Goal of the stream is not to get caught up on anything. So... Some plaster colors that would match a bit better. Yeah. Also cool, but not what I need. I'm gonna go with the dark marble, just for now. It'll be a bit easier than add. It might not look as good, but I'm gonna try. That gotten everything? Yeah, not perfect, but it's better than what I was doing before. So we're gonna stick with this for right now. And let's see, 45 minutes. Let's start working on this back wall. So this is just gonna be like a building of some sort. So let's figure out what we want to do back here. So we need a couple doors. And so maybe I will... We're gonna remake this, and we're gonna make a bit of a steel frame. It's gonna be a bit of an experiment. Okay. So it needs to line up with the edge of the barriers and not the edge of the balcony. Snapping off. Okay. And bring it up a bit. Apply all transformations. It's default. I'm probably gonna move this in a bit more. Yeah, that's nice. Oh, and I also expanded this, so I can move these. Are these parented? Yes. Move these around a bit. So it's not quite as claustrophobic. Right. So, let's see. I kind of want to cut out a couple doors here. Probably one on each side, and then one behind the bar with a window into maybe a kitchen, whatever it would be. And so, how am I gonna start this? I'm actually gonna try something. I know I keep deleting this. I'm actually gonna start with a plane. We're gonna start with that. We're gonna rotate at 90. Oop. Oh, am I? Okay, perfect. And then we're just gonna that. Okay. Oh, and I grabbed something else here by accident, it looks like. I didn't move anything. No, okay. Great. So, the reason I wanted to start with the plane is because you can, at least for me, it's easier to cut out what I want to cut out and then solidify that, then cut out a 3D object. Especially when it's something really simple. So for this, let's see. Grab this. Going to the bevel selected. We're going to insert a face here quickly. So that's good. Set. Oops, add. Nope. No proportional editing. Okay. That's probably good. That's gonna add our. It's gonna be our main stuff. Okay. And I'm just gonna do a similar thing over here. So cancel that. All I'm doing is just making loop cuts to kind of block out where I want doors to be. Try to make it a little bit symmetrical. Probably there, and then there. And then we're gonna add one more cut. I want to make a hole in the wall for a little bar. You can also, I haven't really tried this out, in 3.0 they made the knife a whole lot better. I'm still not, I guess I could try this on the other side. Still not super good with it, but it does kind of allow you to just draw a little bit nicer than it was before. Actually, that's the top I want. I'm gonna say the bottom is gonna be here. Always get moved. There we go. There we go. And so for the example for the new knife tool, you can really just kind of go to town there, and it's gonna figure it out for you. A lot better than the old knife tool. And then, so we're gonna do a similar thing. Just cut here to up, straighten that out, that, and then cut here to up, straighten that out. And then I think that I have all the bits that I want to get rid of now. They're gonna be this, this, and this. Okay. So now we have a basic wall here. Kind of wanted to do something like a almost like a window frame outline and have it all as glass, but probably don't have time to do that. Also, I know some modifiers that can help out with that I'm just not thinking of off the top of my head. Okay, so now we kind of see there's a little bit of stuff a little off, so we can just kind of go in and just kind of adjust them to how we see fit. That. This door is smaller than this door, and this door is massive. So we're just gonna grab all of those. All of these. That. And all of these. Still listening to, okay. I mean, this is another aspect where what I could do is actually cut it down the middle. Actually, why don't I just do this as an example? Because I don't use it enough. Down to here. Do that. And then I can just even... Oop, no, I don't want a knife. I don't want a knife tool. How do I stop? Okay. And then I can just actually apply a mirror to this. And there we go. A little long, but we can always merge it a bit. Oh, that's not what I want to do. I don't think that means what I thought it meant. But that is okay for now. Okay, well, we got our perfectly symmetrical bar now. And we're gonna add... What do I want to do here? We're gonna bring it forward for sure, so it gets in there. Then we're going to solidify it. We're gonna apply this first of all. Solidify. Just gonna add, I don't know, 0.1. That's gonna add a decent chunk to it to act as a wall. And we're gonna give it another quick texture. I don't want tiles. I want walls. They really only have stone walls, which isn't what I am looking for. There we go. It's a lot of dark right now, so I don't know. Maybe we switch over to a copper to add a bit more color. No. Let's find something here that works. Oh, this might be fun. Faux leather. Oh, it doesn't look like leather to me, so that's fine. Smart UV project. Okay, okay. This is showing up a bit weird, but we're gonna fix that. UV editor. Faux leather. Faux leather tiles. Not quite what I need, but it's gonna work. think I'm gonna make this a bit taller, and then we can add like an overhang, keeping in mind about I have about half an hour. I was thinking about doing some, you know, wine bottles and stuff, but I think that might be another stream. Like that. And then we're just gonna need to do a bit of work again. Also some edge seams missing. I'm gonna redo the UV in a second, but for now I just want to put like some glass in here. So we're just gonna make a plane. I'm going to rotate that 90. That in there. Go. And just put it kind of in the middle. Ooh, stretch this out. Doesn't need to be perfect. And we already have a glass texture. One of the reasons I also want to do this is because I don't want to model anything back there. And the good thing about this glass texture is that I need to make a new glass texture. You can see through it too much. So that's pretty easy. Just go to glass. We're going to add a new one, glass 001, and we're going to call it glass opaque. And we're going to increase, well, we're going to make it a little darker itself. I'm going to change it up to be a bit more of a, yeah, like that. And so we still want to be able to theoretically pretend like we can see through it and have that reflection. I just want to increase the roughness, really. Kind of all I want to do. There might be some lights behind it that'll help kind of show that there's something happening there. But that'll be good enough for now. The reason we're not seeing anything through it either is because it is... There we go. That's better. If you put in glass or put in something transparent as a plane, it's just not gonna show. That's pretty good. So what I'm also gonna do is add a counter, like a little extension to this, which should be pretty easy. I can even just do this. Oop. Let's maybe... I think it merged a bit too much. See here, like two of these are overlapping. It's fine. Add a new cube. So because I added this in edit mode, it's going to be a part of this mesh now. And we can just like line this up. Faces. And we're just gonna give this specific part of this a new material, and it's just gonna be the metal material that we used earlier. Metal. Fine. And then it acts like a little bar front. And I think, yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, what else do we need to do? Doors. Let's get some doors in here. I think this is going to be a 2-stream scene because I am liking what I'm doing. I would like to polish it. These could also be, just for sake of trying to save time, these could also be glass doors. And we're gonna pretend like they have handles. Because I want to work on some other stuff for calling it a stream. Okay, so we're gonna add these. See how they end up looking at the end. And then to help with that, we're gonna add a bit of a, I'm not in edit mode, am I? No. Add a light behind them. Lights, there it is. Actually, here's what we're gonna do quickly. I want to check the intensity of this, see what you can see through here. Not bad. If we made this a dark room, which if I have time, I will do. I just want to give like a sense of depth back here. And then make that have a bit more effect. We're just going to do a real quick box here. So we're just going to grab a cube over here. Get it to the rough size of this. Hmm? Okay, now let's see how these look now. Yeah, there we go. Adds a little bit of depth. A little bit of light. Not perfect, but it's getting there. Now let's try to place the camera here. Obviously that's going to create some issues, but we're going to try to move around that. Go back here, and we're just going to select the camera. Oop, that's not the camera. And start moving it around. Oh, and for this, I'm going to use a wide angle lens. Camera setting. There it is. Okay. Let's actually do a quick render here and see how this kind of looks, just kind of a bare. Let's see here. Render. Oh, and I also want to turn the 120 is fine with this render engine. Okay. So it still looks a little bland, but I think that can be solved with a lot of things. Obviously compositing, and also just, I mean, I just don't like this texture back here. Just don't like the wall, and obviously there's some stuff that needs to be added to the doors. But for now, that's a good first little render. Lot gets lost in here with this texture. It's just it's reflecting off of this knitting. Yeah. And obviously, I mean, lots of things can be changed, such as adding an overhang, which I kind of want to do, which will add a little bit more dynamic feel. Cash register, bottles, coffee, all that kind of stuff would be a good addition. Chairs to the tables, I haven't done that yet. I think this is going to be a two-stream kind of project. I also think the blocking I'm not super happy with, or the kind of where I'm shooting. I think a good thing for this one would be adding like towers in the back. I think that's going to be also a thing I could add, or at least on a future project, to make it seem like there's a bigger sense of scale. But well, let's increase these samples, just because we're at the point in Blender where you can do that. And maybe we'll do a quick compositing thing on here just to get a general idea. Oh, I'm gonna reposition this camera. Maybe use a bit of less of a wide lens. Really. Oh, please don't crash. Okay. Just gonna give it a second. Okay. And we're gonna save this because I apparently had not saved it yet. All right, so we're gonna redo this just to kind of, if I see the edge, I'm not gonna complain, just because this isn't done yet. Can do that, and I just want to get this texture out of here. I'm not a big fan, and I'll throw pretty much anything else on there. Yeah, that's already a little bit better. I'm not gonna do a whole lot. I'm also just gonna add that to that, just to make things a little bit easier. All right, here's a render. So let's quickly go into compositing for a couple minutes. Use nodes. All right. So there's lots to kind of work on here. The biggest issue right now is lighting, because I'm just using sunlight, and I haven't really messed around with that a whole lot. So these are the usual ones I use. These are like the standard. When I'm doing compositing, I always touch these. You can add a mask really easily. It's just a box mask into a blur. Oops. A blur into a alpha over. Then it goes mask into image into one of these, and then this will go into here. Or wait, it's this, and then it's a mix. There we go. Okay, but I want to do this first. Out and out. What am I missing? Okay, there it is. I think that's the issue. Yep. So I just need to do that and turn this into... There you go. Okay, now increase that blur again. I know that this isn't a finalized picture, but it's always nice to kind of get a look at this. Ooh, there we go. The basic mask. And let's a little overexposed. it down a little bit. I want to bring that purple up a little bit more. And we're going to do a final render here. Save first. And here we go. About halfway there. Oh, of course, I did not actually put... Okay. Do that one more time. I did not put the mask in the output. Actually go to here. And now we can do a render. So I think we're rendering at 1920 by 1080. I think we're only broadcasting at 720, but my screen's 2560. It might be a little blurry. And, you know, realistically, other than the glass, which isn't shaded correctly for it, this isn't like a super, super high polygon project, other than the displacement. If you're doing game stuff, you want to use normals instead of displacement. That's what I would do, which is pretty much the same. But this could be with a bit of tweaking, with a bit of retopography, which I am not good at, but there are some great tools out there to help you with that. This could be used in a game engine as well. Could be imported into something like Unity. But yeah, I think that is a good place to call it for here. I think I'm going to pick this up when I stream next. So thank you, everybody who came out. I enjoyed doing this little sketch. We'll turn it into something a little bit bigger next time I'm on. So thank you for watching. If you were here, please check out Hand-Eye Society. We have a Discord, which is great to hang out in. We have lots of events always going. We stream every week on Tuesday nights. We have workshops coming up. We have one on Twine coming up, I believe. Is that tomorrow? I want to double check that. It's tomorrow. Yes, we have a Twine workshop tomorrow. So check out. We have info on it on our Discord. We have info on it on our Twitter at Hand-Eye Society. We have more workshops coming up, including Blender and grant writing, live streaming. So lots of fun things happening. Thanks so much for watching. I've been Aaron Demeter, and I will talk to you all later. Bye.